A bunch of friends and I did a really cool canoe trip in Alberta, Canada, this past July on the North Saskatchewan River. So just made this video to kind of share information about it in case people were interested in this stretch of river to do a canoe trip. So here we go. So you can see the river is a good-sized river. I'd say it's a medium-sized river. It's fed by glaciers, so the water is cold and clean and clear. I mean, you could drink it right out. It gets that kind of color from the glacial silt that accumulates, but you can filter that out no problem if you want. But you can also drink the water pretty much straight from the river. It's in the foothills of the Rockies on the eastern slope of the Rocky Mountains. So you're not right in the mountains on this route, but you are in the foothills, and the water's moving pretty quickly. So it's a mountain river. It's a mountain river experience, but you're in the foothills as you can see. Our trip was 6 days. So we put in at the bridge by Nordegg, and we took the river through Rocky Mountain House down to Drayton Valley, and that's where we took out. And some people continue on to Edmonton, which would add days to the trip, but we had a 6-day trip from Nordegg to Rocky Mountain House. The other thing I'll say about the river is there were zero portages on this route. Now, when the river turns, you do get standing waves on the outside of the turn. So the trick is to kind of stay out directly of the waves, which are cold and which will take water in your canoe. And basically, you want to stay close to that because the water's moving faster, which you want, but not so much that you're in the rapids. So you're basically always taking the inside of the turns as you go down the river. But other than that, I mean, there's no hazards in the river itself. We didn't worry about pinning a canoe or hitting a rock. But the water is cold, so if you did tip for some reason, you'd want to have a quick river rescue. But really does not require technical whitewater skills at all. Also, all of the camping that you see here is on Crown land, so there are no reservations or fees to be paid. There's some beautiful campsites. Many of them are accessed by ATV trails, so some of them see use. So you can get to a campsite and there can be some signs of human inhabitants there. But we never came to a campsite and had somebody at it, so it's pretty remote. Although we did come across some fishers in canoes. We also came across some power boats. So some people had put in somewhere, taken their power boats to a place to swim and camp. And so it wasn't like completely remote. Also near the bottom of our route, we did see the odd cabin. And of course, you go through a town of Rocky Mountain House, and you also go into the Drayton Valley, which is a really big campsite that's there. The river was designated just in the last year as a Canadian Heritage River. So you can find information about it from the Canadian Heritage River system, a little bit about the history of it. There's also an amazing amount of information online. So this is a package of maps about the river. So I hope you can see, it's a bit small, but I hope you can see here that basically the river starts in the Rocky Mountains, flows eastward through the city of Edmonton, through Saskatchewan, and into Lake Winnipeg. So ultimately it flows into the Hudson Bay at Churchill. But of course, the section that we did was well above that. Basically, we put in, I'll show you a better map here in a minute, but we put in sort of in this upper reach and took out well before Edmonton. There's an amazing atlas of the North Saskatchewan River, also from the North Saskatchewan Watershed Alliance, which gives you all the information you could possibly want to know about the watershed. An absolutely fantastic resource, all available online. I put a link in the description. Of course, if you're paddling, you want to have paddling maps, and of course, the Bible for any kind of river in Alberta is Mark's Guide for Alberta paddlers. So this is a book full of route maps. Think, kind of the Kevin Callender, Hap Wilson book, but for Alberta. Amazing resource for anybody who wants to paddle around Alberta. There's also this river guide that's available for free online, which is a really good map. In fact, let me just show you here. Here's kind of an overview map, and you can see the glacier here. The river comes down like this, and then you've got this upper section is known to sort of intense expert whitewater paddlers. Probably some of the best and most challenging whitewater in Canada can be found up here. So we didn't do that part of it. We put in below Buckhorn Dam, Bighorn Dam rather. And the reason we put in below the dam was because there's a video of this guy here who basically had a rescue on the North Saskatchewan River, and basically what he says is that below Buckhorn Dam, that there's huge log jams, which basically trapped their canoe and their restrainers, and they weren't able to get out of it. And so he was rescued by RCMP, and basically said that the RCMP officers that rescued him said that they do this all the time, that all kinds of people get caught up in the log jams below the dam. So for that reason, put in around Nordegg, and then paddled down through, as I said, Rocky Mountain House, and we took out at Drayton Valley. Also, though, for the river, we had these maps here from Paddle Alberta, and you get this, we used the first and second map, because that took us from Nordegg Bridge all the way down to Drayton. And as I mentioned, some people will add on the additional maps to get themselves down to Edmonton. If you are camping on Crown lands in Alberta, it's probably worth looking at the Guide to Outdoor Recreation on Provincial Crown Land, just to see what the rules and regulations are in terms of fishing and camping and so forth. We had absolutely no problems. We had a great experience camping there. In Alberta, they don't call it Crown Land camping, they call it Freedom Camping, and I can see why. Just an absolutely great setup for wilderness canoers. In terms of outfitting services, we used Gila Adventures. We were really happy with them. They're located right on the river. They knew exactly our route. They'd done this 100 times. They provided shuttles for us and canoes. And so that was fantastic. Now, because most of us were coming from outside of Alberta, we flew into Calgary, and we actually separately rented transportation by bus to get up to the river. But if you have vehicles, you can get yourself up to Gila Adventures and take it from there. That was awesome. And by the way, on our way back, we stayed, we had a meal at Hawktail Brewery, sort of in a small town along the route, which was absolutely fantastic. So there you have it. It was a 6-day trip from Nordegg Bridge down to Drayton Valley. Absolutely fantastic river. Saw lots of deer and birds, and people were fishing on the river, but a good wilderness feel in the foothills and on a great river, and would highly recommend it. And the nice thing about it, for a 6-day trip, no portaging, but a great river trip. So I hope this is helpful to you, and maybe you'll get out there.